Well, hello, everybody. I know myself a little bit too well because I've been waiting to start the stream for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get into something. I'm not going to look at anything. I'm going to wait, take a breather for 10 minutes because if I get into something, I'm going to start my stream late. What did I do? I got distracted and I looked at something and I'm a minute late. 2 minutes late. So yeah, that's my life. Anyway, if you want to make sure that you have something to hydrate yourself, make sure that you have a snack, make sure that you have whatever it is that you need to work on because we might get into sprints. It just entirely depends on y'all and what y'all want to do. But I have my hot tea in my gray wolf cup mug thing because allergies are real and I'm at one with having year-round allergies apparently. I'm going to have to eat. Rach joined, getting a comfy seat, and I said, nice extra cushion on the padding is a must. If you know, you know. And it is actually related to this book. Because, yeah, during one of the chapters, Regis has a moment, and he thinks that he has figured out how to thwart Verson. But we all know that Verson is unthwartable, right? Right. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to pop that up. And here we go. All right. Been trying to figure out an email system and need a break. Understand. I am going to see if I can move the chat a little bit. Here we go. We'll put it up here. Better? Better. Yeah, that way it's not covering any of the slides. Trying to figure out an email system and need a break. The one that you sent earlier today, I think it was earlier today. It might have been yesterday. Looked good. But yeah, I don't know. It's been so long since I've looked at like MailerLite and MailChimp and all that stuff because I've just been focusing on Substack and using that as my newsletter that I haven't done any research here like recently. No, yes, I mean I feel like that would be embarrassing for Reg. Reg embarrassed? Nah. Luckily it looks good in emails. Okay. Is it easy on the back end? That's the main thing. You gotta make sure it's easy on you. Because if you're like me and it's not easy, then you're just going to be like, screw it. I'm going to schedule out 12 months and forget what I wrote, and I'm going to be done with it. And then you forget when the 12th month hits. And yeah, Kona's making her bed, so we will let her scratch. Can y'all hear that? Madam, is it soft enough yet? Okay, you gotta pull a blanket over. There you go. Okay. All right. Rick says, but I like to send folks a link to show them I edited their book promo, and I can't figure that out. The folks at Kit are helping me troubleshoot. Nice. That is interesting. Yep, she's scratching. Yeah. All right, so let's get on it. Right. So, cover reveal for My Husband Wants to Keep Me Pristine. It is going to be available on August 29th, but you can pre-order the ebook in some places, and I shall give you the link to that right now. So there's where you can pre-order. It will pop up on Amazon eventually. I just don't know why it hasn't yet. It's kind of sort of already on Goodreads. So whenever you do purchase it and whenever you do read it, make sure to leave a review. But yeah, I've got my little ribbons in here, but my ribbons have a friend. So yeah, my ribbons are kind of complaining about, is this ever going to end? Stop whining or she'll make it worse. I'm so tired, boss. And then their friend, we're going to call it friend. Tired from what? I'll show you tired. Oh no, someone let it out. Catch it. That's what the little bows ribbons down below say. All right, so My Husband Wants to Keep Me Pristine is about these two, Regis and Verson, the brute and the sheltered novel reading lady. And yes, I know people or ladies who read the types of books that she does are not necessarily sheltered. And Regis is definitely stubborn. He is a brute, but he's also like a teddy bear. He's hard on the outside and looks growly and looks mean, but he's really sweet on the inside sometimes. Most of the time. Only if you're a person. Right? Right. So this is what I kind of wanted to hit up this time because I know I've talked about this book a lot, and it's a very short book. So there's only so much you can talk about. But I wanted to go over what the world thinks of Regis and what Regis thinks of himself. That way you can kind of get a better handle of the main character or one of the main characters here. So the world thinks that Regis is a war hero. But Regis thinks that he's just good at killing. Because he is. The guys that are around him think that he's part god, like a demigod, but he is not saying what he is. He's not saying if he is witchkin, dragonkin, or elf at all, because nobody needs to know. Those that need to know, hey Mel, already know. So he's fine with that. According to everybody else, he is human and he's just good at killing. The world thinks that he's a distant cousin to the king that he put on the throne. Now, the king made him a duke as his reward for war crimes, we'll say, but it's really a punishment to Regis. He is a distant cousin to the king, but Regis doesn't feel like he put his cousin on the throne. He feels that his cousin earned it because it was his cousin who was the mastermind between where to place Regis in the country to win. So yeah, dukedom for Regis is a definite punishment, according to Regis. He feels it in his bones. He knows that the king is just fed up with him and is punishing him now. The world thinks that Regis is the leader of the most vicious and powerful warriors. Regis thinks it's only because no one else wants the responsibility as a leader. And no, he's not happy with their title, the Seven Vicious Tamers. Because, yeah, they, Harry and Fedvick mostly, came up with their name, the Seven Vicious Tamers. And this was before they were actually 7 strong. They did this when they were 6 strong, and they're like, okay, we need another one because somebody has to help Regis get ready. And because he's a duke now, so he's going to have to be all fancy and everything. And I'm sorry, but none of us want to do that. So they knew that they would eventually number 7. And 7 is Regis because it includes Regis, Fedvic, Harry, Charn, Slaith, Doxy, and Bertrand. You will learn a lot about these characters as the books go on. Who you might not get to know very well is Slaith and Bertrand, but you'll love Slaith and Bertrand. You just will, because they're good side characters. All right, the world thinks that Regis is Duke Victory. He brought the victories to the country. He killed the tyrant. He killed the rest of the tyrant spawn that believed as the tyrant did, and got rid of the armies and got rid of the people who wanted to commit genocide they wanted the rest of the world to die so they could control the entire world. They literally wanted the rest of the world to die. What Regis thinks is that he is indeed Duke Vicious because he is good at killing. The name Duke Victory is just, it's like baby food. It's soft, it's gentle, and it's good for the ladies to call him because then he doesn't have to go into explanations as to why he's so vicious. So, Victory, okay, fine, but he's really Duke Vicious, and he knows it. The world thinks that he is the most eligible bachelor because he's a duke. And he's Duke Victory. He is famous. He's rich. He's gorgeous. But Regis thinks, and it's not his fault that he thinks this, you'll find out in the book, that he is average looking, and he is even thinking that he's the scariest man alive because he is good at killing. And what woman would ever want that, right? And he knows that his life is not his own. He is a duke. He is a warrior. He's the best killer that the king has. And he knows that he's probably going to die in some battle soon. So he doesn't think that he needs a woman. He doesn't think that a woman deserves to be alone all the time. He thinks that he's not marriage material at all. And the ribbon is depicting Harry down here. Damn it, Slaith, you went the wrong tactic with keeping it in his pants as a teen. So Slaith and Bertrand raised Regis. And they are the reason why Regis thinks that no woman wants him. Kind of, technically. Because they didn't want 100 little Regises running around and causing them headaches. So yeah. And that's Harry, Year of Surviving Bertrand 2025. In the later books, there are flashbacks, and they are titled as Year of Surviving Bertrand, such. So that's the reason why that's there. All right. So this is what Regis thinks versus what Verson thinks. And I'm going to read what Verson thinks. Verson thinks that she's too curvy and she's not refined enough. Regis thinks that she's fucking perfect. Verson thinks that she is well below what he deserves, that he deserves better, that she is just a viscount's daughter, and she's not that friendly, she's not that high in society, she's not the belle of the ball. And she thinks that Duke Victory deserves someone better, and Regis disagrees. She also thinks that she is too plain, and Regis thinks that she is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And welcome to Kona's Snores. We'll have a little ASMR in the background. Verson thinks that he is Duke sexy. Yes, please. And Regis, of course, thinks that he's Duke vicious. And Verson also thinks every now and then that she's coming on to Regis a little too strong. It's a brief, very brief moment of weakness when she thinks that. But Regis thinks that she is, that she needs to stop it. And she wants Regis. She definitely wants Regis. She fell in love with him. She thinks that he's kind. She thinks that he's gentle. She thinks that he is the most eligible bachelor, and he's her husband, so she wants him. And Regis, of course, thinks that she deserves a long-lasting relationship. And the bow ribbon down at the bottom is Fedvik this time. When stubborn self-loathers meet, nothing gets done. Because Fedvik is all about getting things done, except for his own personal life, which you will find out in book 3, in its year Surviving Bertrand 2025. All right, so I am going to read a new to you chapter from my proof copy here. So this is chapter 3. This is Regis's point of view. My beta readers didn't even get this. My husband was the only one. Oops, sorry about the phone. My husband was the only one that got these chapters. So, chapter 3. No means no means no. Let me know if you get the reference to that or the quote. No means no means no. All right, here we go. Let me get a drink before I start. Get it together, Sam. Get it together. All right. I don't need this. Doxy looked at the shirt in his hands, then back to his lord. But you do, sir. Regis met Doxy's dark brown eyes in the mirror, watching the boy fidget. He could almost read the thoughts running through behind those eyes. If I show up half naked, surely her family, even the queen herself, would call off the wedding. Don't you think? He wasn't about to ride in the capital without pants. Shirtless, maybe. Especially if it got him out of the current mess. He bit back the smirk as Doxy mentally flailed, evidenced by his multitude of half-started words and flushed face. Regis shook his head, turned, and held his arms down and forward. Shirt. Doxy immediately pulled the sleeves over Regis's hands and the shirt up over his head, which he had to bend to let the boy do. The fabric fell on his broad shoulders, and he helped Doxy smooth it down to his waist. The boy made quick work of the laces, tightening them and tying them off. Then the jacket was in Doxy's hands. Regis frowned at it, a dastardly thing of stiff fabrics and all these medals and titles he'd earned during the war plastered on one side. It was gaudy and too hot. He wished he didn't have to wear it at all. Ever. Today was not his, just as every day was not his. Today he was to do the queen's bidding. He was to marry a woman, a cousin of the queen, whom he had never met, and act as if he wanted a typical married life with his blushing bride for the following nights. His eyes shot to his nightstand behind Doxy to the letter laying half-torn where he'd left it. He'd received the answer to his last desperate plea to avoid marriage that morning. He would have to marry one Verson, Thesiolosis. He turned, allowing the jacket to be shoved onto him, and then buttoned closed. Regis thought of a million ways to win a battle, to lead his men, and to intricately carve a path through the enemy territory to kill the leader. This? How did one defeat the will of a queen and the norms of society? Doxy, are you sure you cannot think of a way to get me out of this? Sir, once the marms and the madams of the ladies get you in their claws, there is no escape. He snorted. I've killed hundreds. Thousands. Millions, sir. Regis's brow twitched. He had to remind himself the boy wasn't there. He hadn't seen the massacres. He didn't know what it meant to take a life on his own. Not yet. I have killed many. He waited to see if Doxy would point something else out, then continued. But I cannot fathom how to escape a bunch of powdered women's desires toward me marrying one of their own. It's a different type of battle, sir. One that no one knows how to win, not even the ladies themselves. He watched as Doxy's gaze fell, the boy losing himself in his own thoughts that Regis hadn't an idiom of knowledge about. He stood patiently still as Doxy added the last finishing touches to his wardrobe, frills and jewels, smoothness and sharpness, and Regis's own personal type of hell was upon him. Perhaps the wedding would fall apart with an attack. Would he have that kind of luck? Probably not. They were in the capital, and he personally made sure there was no danger there. Steeling himself, he glanced at the man in the mirror. Scarred face with a more scarred body hidden behind peacock-like finery. Ridiculous. He sneered, the scar curling his lip in a grotesque way that usually washed witnesses of it in so much fear they shook in their boots. What would the little prim lady do if he turned that on her? His snarl turned into a smirk. That was it. Scare the lady out of her wits and she'd run away. He didn't have to chase her, either. He followed Doxy out of his chambers, adjusting the jacket one way, then returning it because it didn't feel any better at all. His armor wasn't as stiff as this damnable jacket. Tugging at the frilly thing at his throat, he growled, making the boy turn to look back at him with wide eyes. Don't fix it until we get to the church, he told the boy, yanking the fabric loose around his neck as they made their way down the stairs and through the foyer. He nodded at Mervis and Fence, his most trusted servants that ran the house in his stead. We will return soon, hopefully without a wife, he added the last under his breath. Regis stopped on the threshold, looking out the door at his six. They too were in their finery, their handsomeness blinding even to him. His possible wife would probably take one look at any of them and run into their arms once he scared her. So be it. Anything to not leave a woman destitute once he died was worth any scorn he'd receive. He took one look at the ratty carriage and dreaded the moment he would have to ride in it. Not now. Now he could be on his horse, and he did just that. Making quick work of the stairs, he took the reins from his second and mounted his stallion. Shall we stop for one last drink as a single man? The redhead at his side asked with a smirk. We're already late, Doxy cried at his other side. Regis shook his head. Let's get this all done and over with. I'll still be single after this day. The redhead laughed heartily. Dear Duke, you cannot go against the whims of the queen. Not even you could survive that woman's wrath. Regis swallowed, knowing it was true. After all, she'd brought his cousin, the king, to kneeling and performing her every whim. The woman was formidable, he had to admit, but he was sure he could get out of it and not be blamed. It would all fall on the lady's wishes and desires. Who could deny a lady? No one should. The ride to the capital was slower than usual, the rickety thing behind them doubling their time. He cursed himself for not having better time management with the painting and repairs of his finer carriages. Carriages gifted to him by his cousin, and he was sure it was because of the queen. Remember how to do the thing I taught you with your tongue? The other redhead asked. Regis noticed that Harry and Fedvik, who looked like brothers, flanked him. Harry was to his right and Fedvik to his left. He glanced at Fedvik. You taught me many things with the tongue, and I remember them all. Good. Use that tonight. He rolled his eyes. There won't be a tonight. Days and nights come and go, no matter what you wish, Slaith countered. Make tonight count and plant your seed in that new wife so I can have a baby to spoil. Make your own, Regis growled at the elf, who rode somewhere behind him. The wife isn't of an age that it's not safe. Therefore, I must demand the second best, having you lot married off and giving me plenty of little baby cheeks to admire. Ah, but you must last too. Don't spill until you absolutely can't hold back from taking her, but be gentle, Harry added. Ladies like her have no experience. Untouched. Regis ignored the rest of the commentary and instructions from his second and Fedvic. With each word they spoke, his determination grew to end the farce of marriage before it even began. A pristine lady did not deserve to be saddled with the likes of him. What would happen to her if he were to marry her, sully her, and then die the next time a rebellion broke out? That wouldn't be fair to her. Not at all. Reaching the capital, they rode through the center where the church squatted, adorned in red swaths of cloth tangled in flowers. A priest stood at the bottom of the 3 steps leading to the wide open double doors. Here it began. Sirs, you are late. You didn't get the chance to meet your new family, nor your bride. Go to the altar. The priest's hands waved wildly, long sleeves flapping. That would have been ideal, scaring the bride before the festivities even began with meeting her first. He cursed his luck as he dismounted and paused long enough for Doxy to do the same and fix his clothing. Regis strode into the church, his men filing in behind him and taking the empty benches on his side. He had no blood relatives other than the king and his offspring. His men were family enough. The 7 were a family chosen by themselves. He walked to the altar, noting the white and red-dressed woman already there. She didn't turn. Her dress did little to hide the curves, and his mouth watered. Once he stopped at her side, he had every intention of performing his most nasty snarl, but his eyes caught on the beauty beneath the lace. Fuck me. That is the end of chapter 3, Regis's chapter. What do you guys think? I know Mel laughed for me. Regis's mental turmoil is fantastic, even if I do say so myself. Not to brag or anything, but yeah, I love these characters, y'all. That's awesome. I needs it in my hand soon. It feels very lovely. I did a matte finish on it like I have all of my books because I love the feel of matte finish. So yeah. All right. And here is one of my favorite scenes that I wanted to read y'all. I might have read this before, but just in case. Friendly reminder. I love Matt. Yay. So this is Versen's point of view, as is most of the book. She took a bite, closed her eyes, and whimpered. With another bite, she lost all thought. My lady wife, Regis's voice broke into her heavenly experience. I am particularly glad you enjoy this course. For sure, Harry grinned at her, then leaned towards Reg. Imagine, sir, the sounds she'd make for you, With a clatter, Harry dropped to the floor amid his broken chair legs. What does that make? 8 chairs now? Bertrand asked. 6 under Harry, 1 under Slaith, and the one with Doxy. That one makes 9. Charm counted, touching his thumb to his fingers on each one. Versen felt excitement march alongside wonder. Her husband had broken an oak chair leg so easily. And quick, too. Harry rolled to a standing position, bouncing on his toes once before brushing himself off. Maybe if you'd partake, you wouldn't be so prone to solve everything with violence. He ducked as soon as he finished the sentence. The butter knife twanged into the wall behind him. That's one of my favorite scenes. It was a hard choice, but there it is. I love the banter between Reg and Harry because they are just like opposites. Harry is a lover, Reg is like, fuck you. No, 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 none of that. Harry is very outgoing. He is boisterous. He's loud. He's a redhead. Yeah. Reg is just like whatever. You know, he sits back and he watches the show. Like I see this playing out in anime version in my mind, right? I would love like an adaptation of these. It sounds like they need to invest some in metal chairs. But what would be the fun in that? Regis couldn't break anymore. I mean, come on. He's got to set them straight, literally. Oh, goodness. I'm going to take another sip of tea before I start coughing and getting dry mouth again. All right. So this right here is the first cover I made. I like it. I really do. But it's just not there. And luckily, I won a critique from Miblart, which I was going to have their website pulled up, and I forgot because I am good that way. So, you know, overlook my typing noises. But here is their website in case you want to check them out. I highly recommend them. They were so nice and so knowledgeable and very open with their critique. I mean, I could ask questions and everything, and it was just awesome. So thank you, Miblart. If you ever get to this, I'm sure that you won't, but any of your personnel, thank you. It was wonderful getting a critique for my cover. So it's great, but it's not quite there. You can feel it missing something, or at least I did. And I like what I did with the ribs down here. Very demure, very mindful, very funny, very thirsty. So yeah, but it lends to like a Jane Austen type book. That's what I caught here. That's what I made the cover for. But this book has fantasy in it, it has comedy in it, and you just don't see that here in this cover. So after I got the critique, I worked on it a little bit. And here is the cover now. What do you think? You know, Harry's gonna do that just to mess with Reg one day. Yeah, and then he will pay. Yeah, Harry always pays. There is no there is no getting away from Reg's wrath. But yeah, this is this is the cover now. You like the bubbles, yeah. I kind of felt like it might hit the wrong way, but if y'all watched let's see, what is it, Rescuers Down Under, and the albatross, he gets saddled with watching the eagle's eggs, you know, and he's like, no means no means no. That's the kind of humor I wanted to go with. But yeah, Regis is no means no means no, and no is not the right thing to say right now. But I added in that it's book one of a series because I didn't have that on the other cover. And they were saying that the pastel watercolor flowers lended to like the Jane Austen feel, but it didn't really do much for like the silhouette, because one is, you know, more fakeish and the other isn't. So I changed out the flowers a little bit and I added dragons so that you can see it has a fantasy feel as well. And yes, there be dragons, and there are elves and gods and witches. Oh my. Yeah, the old one is very Jane Austen yeah. Oh my gosh, me speaking today. I like the bubbles. The bubbles are cool. So each cover is going to be similar to this. Each one's going to lend itself to the characters, of course. But yeah. I almost want more silhouette. I wish. So I want to get character art for these sets of books first because I think these would do well in a Kickstarter. And I think that people would like the addition of art pieces. So I'm kind of hoping that the special edition for the Kickstarter, I can get someone to do like an overall cover, like the box set cover, and they actually have the shape of the characters instead of what I can find. That's free. So yeah. Cool. Yes, Kickstarter. Yes, very much so. It's in the works. Well, not necessarily in the works. I'm planning it. I'm writing down notes. I've read what is the name of that book? Kickstarter for Authors, and I'm of course taking some of the videos in mind. You know, the Kickstarter videos on here on YouTube. So yeah, but yeah, that is the cover, y'all. It's made by me, so it's simple. But here it is. My husband wants to keep me pristine, and thank you so much, and welcome. But here's the Q&A, or asked me to read a chapter, and Rach already asked me to read a page. It was page 69. I'm going to pop up that comment right quick. Give y'all some time to either pick a chapter, pick a page, or ask a question about this book or even the series. I do have the rest of the books pulled up, so if you want a page read from one of them, I will gladly do it. Just keep in mind that the other books have not been edited. They're very much rough draft. Okay, so page 69 is in the chapter One of These Plans Has to Come Together. All right, and it's like right towards the end, so I'll just read like the last two sentences on the next page too. You best return early, she told his desk, squatting in the center of the room before the large bay windows with crimson curtains. You said within a fortnight. Not a fortnight, sir. She closed her eyes, listing the first 5 plans and their steps within her mind, each designed for a particular arrival. If he were to arrive in the morning, she would merely run to him and jump in his arms, then drag him toward the bedchamber. In the flurry, she would undress him before he could even stop her, and one thing would lead to another. If, in the afternoon, Verson would welcome him with a kiss on the cheek, hook her arm in his, and listen to his stories as they walked to his chambers. She'd let him rest, then sneak into his room and crawl into bed with him. If Reg were to arrive home in the evening, she would make him come to her quarters. B and she had practiced how long it would require for her to get undressed for him, as long as he doesn't rush by taking the steps 2 at a time or running down running through the halls, she would have plenty of time. She slept in his bed every night, just in case he arrived. A man saying no to a woman while both were naked? Hardly likely. I lost my place. Oh my god. Yes, he slept in the nude, bare, free. Mervis finally revealed this information after considerable coaxing and incentives. Mervis liked lemon squares. Those and the oat bread Fence loved had them turning a blind eye to her sleeping in their master's chambers after the first week had passed. She picked up the letter and read it, her father's report on the goings-on of her old home. Nothing had changed. She put it to the side, set up to grab another and open it. Settling back against the couch with her tea in her free hand, she skimmed over the invitation. Verson wasn't about to go to a ball or gathering of any sort, other than a tea party perhaps, without her husband. She returned it to the table and took a sip before opening an additional letter. The hot liquid spluttered out between her lips and nearly jumped down the wrong pipe. Her husband's scrawl told her the date of his arrival, and nothing more. Tomorrow. So that is page 69 and 70. Jules wants the 15, since it's the 15th. Awesome. Here we go. This is from what was the first chapter. But I added some buildup. So this is now chapter 4, the second page in chapter 4. It's from the chapter that's titled The Ceremony That Is Too Long. Versus point of view, of course. My lady, a rumbling voice thrilled her. He leaned in close to her ear through the veil. Forgive me for taining you in this way. She stared at his large, calloused hands as they lifted her veil. Then his eyes caught her attention. Midnight blue, similar to staring into the night between sparkling stars before the sun fully relinquished the sky to the moon. What was supposed to be happening? Right, a kiss. She nearly jumped into his arms, but his hands were gentle on her sides. Verson's gaze dropped to his lips. The bottom one was plumper than the top. From his jaw to the corner of his eye, a slender but ragged scar caused the left side to lift slightly. She needed to lift her chin unusually high to see his face this close to hers. His strength, apparent under his clothes, nearly threw her imagination into another series of hopes and dreams, until he came even closer, and his lips pressed to hers. What was his tongue going to taste like? Verson blinked, staring at his lips because they were no longer on hers. The weak kiss was far too quick. Unclenching her hands from one another, she reached up. He turned, thwarting her attempted kiss. She turned with him, the roar of the crowd suddenly filling her ears. Polite clapping still became thunderous when there were so many confined in a room that echoed like a cave. A unified salute and a chorus of "Congratulations, Lord," arose from the left rear. She had never been so lost in thought or daydreams that she forgot her surroundings and the fact that she was not by herself. He presented his thick arm. She wrapped her hand around the curve of his elbow. She was aware that walking down the lengthy purple rug to the entrance of the worship hall would be arduous. To each of his steps she had to take 2. Luckily for her, he shortened his stride after a few moments. Considerate. He was considerate. How lucky was she? What if he lacked the time and promptly brought her to bed? Should she complain about it or act shocked? Perhaps, instead, he seized her maidenhood within the carriage before reaching home. That's it. That's page 15. But yeah, so keep in mind that this is the proof copy. I'm gonna pull this up. So this is how thin it is, and yeah, I know that it's backwards. So yeah, this is probably going to be the smallest book I write. Well, this series is going to be the smallest books I write. So this little novella, tiny. It's tiny. It's tiny. But yeah, I love it. Verson indeed has high hopes. All right, so y'all want me to read any more? Or you want me to read? Like I said, I have the other books documents pulled up, but like I said, they are very, very rough draft. The covers better look good next to each other. They will. They'll all be this. So I went with this color because it kind of reminded me of the Jane Austen era, that soft teal aquamarine kind of color. But I wanted it a little bit darker too, just to kind of differentiate it from them, because it's not quite Jane Austen-esque. So yeah, I like this color. And all of them are going to be this color, so you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, why is red next to this? It doesn't look good. Rachel says, unfortunately, I have to scoot, but I can't wait to hold those and read your extras. Thank you. Rachel's one of my beta readers. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Mel is smiling. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. It is. I love this. I do. I love these characters. I'm so glad that this idea came to me. Hate it when series don't look good next to each other, right? I have one back here that drives me nuts too, actually. So the first two books are in trade paperback, the 8x5, normal. The third book is a 6x9. The fourth book is back to the trade paperback, 8x5. And yeah, they were all on the same shelf in the bookstore. I got the whole series just because I am one of those people who, if I like the first book, I want to complete the whole series. But that drives me nuts. And I've went back to the bookstore and looked, and it's still a 6x9. So y'all don't have to worry about that with me either, because every single one of my books, if I have anything to do with it, is all going to be 6x9. So you can have my collection of books and they stand together and they're all going to be even. Mel says, like one of my Sandmans is upside down. Oh my gosh. That's so crazy. Yes, it is. Hey, Lauren. How are you? Did you? All right. Hey. All right, Lauren. You came in late. Do you want me to read a page? You've got to choose between pages 1 and 137 or chapters 1 to 28. More books. Yes, I am trying. I'm going to do an update video here soon, so y'all will know the plan, because I have a plan. The plan will come together, maybe, hopefully, probably not, but yeah. Chapter 1. All right, cool. So we've got chapter title: Things that were, things that are, and some things are coming. You can guess the spelling on the word coming there. Accomplishment followed the delightful thumping sound of a book closing, even when she didn't want the story to end. Verson never did, but it always meant she could move on to the next raunchy romance she wasn't supposed to read. With much mental effort, she made herself rise from the chase in her bedroom to hide the book in the basket next to the door under a pile of unfinished embroidery. Her maid would find it and replace it with a new one before lunch. She had a few hours to work off the extravagant breakfast she had taken in her room instead of with the family. Who wanted to be with family when there was a swoon-worthy romantic scene between the guard and his mistress before they eloped and lived happily ever after? Not Verson. She glanced at the clock on her white mantle over the cooling coals amid gray ash. Perfect timing as her family took their walk in the garden. If she wasn't reading, the garden was the next best thing. Verson smoothed her cream-colored dress, adjusted the lace at her chest, and then made her debut to the rest of the house. Meandering through the plush carpeted hall covered in pastoral paintings, she imagined a scene in each that would make anyone blush. Verson passed the double doors leading to the garden and had one foot in the marble foyer before she realized. She raked a few fingers through her brown hair, mentally shaking her head at herself. None of the scenes she imagined held her, but a slightly better version of her. A touch thinner, one or two less slanted teeth of the three. Brighter eyes of blue or green was her vision of her dream self. There was nothing to be done for her plainness, but she knew she was who she needed to be. She was the middle child of House Theselosis. Counts they were, and as such she had one job: to be perfect enough to gain fortune through marriage for her line. There were further conditions to being perfect, of course. She couldn't be as perfect as her eldest sister, nor as carefree as her youngest. Condition 2: she couldn't look twice at the friends of her eldest brother, and must completely ignore the companions of her youngest brother. She was to be her elder siblings' support and the teacher to her younger ones. A middle child wasn't supposed to be seen until the eldest were married either. It was terrible to be a middle child. Entering the garden, she paused under the sunlight, long enough for a cloud to cover the sun and ruin her moment. She sighed, then listened. To the east were giggles and a clink of porcelain. Debating on whether she wanted to walk in peace or have a snack took a few minutes. She decided on the snack. Within the rather extravagant garden was a gazebo grand enough to hold a table for tea for 10. Verson watched her family at the table within the airy confines as she approached from the western path of flat stones with rich grass between. Birds sang, drowning out some of her family's voices, until she touched the bottom step. "Sister, tell her she's being an imbecile." The eldest daughter, Enma, set her teacup on her saucer, her brown eyes darting to the imbecile and holding there. Verson climbed the rest of the stairs, taking in the scene. The youngest daughter, Char, barely 8 in years, held 2 chunks of dark chocolate in her hands. Evidence of pieces already devoured were at the corners of her butterfly-shaped lips. "I see no imbecile, but a child eating too many sweets," she said with a smile before glancing at their mother. She sat as if there wasn't another in the world besides her, sipping her tea with pinky curled free, a straight back and head held high. "I haven't had a piece yet." The youngest son, but second youngest of the Thesiolosis children, shot a glare at the girl. Gistra Thesiolosis was brown-haired like the rest of them, but she had green eyes. Gistra was the closest in looks to their father, the only one to show a hint of their father's blue-hued eyes amid the sea of brown. At 10, there were 13-year-old girls plotting their marriage with him already. How perfect. Have mine. Verson took the piece off her plate and placed it on his. She smiled when he grabbed it up with a grin of thanks and popped the whole thing in his mouth. I'm glad you are taking your diet seriously this time, sister, Inma said with a smile over the edge of her teacup, as if she had won a battle. They were using the set covered in lavender and roses, Inma's favorite. Verson then knew she'd made a mistake. The tea would be horrid, burned, as Inma was a terrible tea maker and snack selector. Are you never going to hold your own at your house? She had to ask, foregoing the act of sipping the tea for a small muffin instead. Who wanted muffins of prune? She made a face, but bit into it anyway. My drawing room still desperately needs refurnishing. The merchant is taking his time to get my order to me. Something about a silly little storm. Inma flipped her fingers dismissively after setting her tea down. And my garden is still full of mud. The silly little storm was the reason her sister's estate was half flooded, and why there wasn't a spot of sun in a week until today. How dreadful, Verson said, but lacked commitment to the words. Ah, Sin, my love, her mother acknowledged her with a pinched smile. Better late than ignored, Verson supposed. Yes, mother. It must be something horrid poised to come out of those thin red lips, or it was something her mother was excited about. The latter could still be terrorizing. Her mother only spoke to her to give her bad advice, tell her to go to a boring engagement, or her choices of suitor for the season. Your father has found you a suitable husband. We are awaiting his arrival from the war. As soon as he sets foot in the near vicinity, we are to rush you to the church to marry him. Horrible indeed. Verson pictured a war-torn face of sun-weathered flesh, a mouth missing teeth, and a body of hardness with a voice of harsh verbiage, if anything ever came of it other than grunts. She floundered for words, but was relieved of speaking as Inma spoke up with a wicked smile. Duke Victory, my sister, is a war hero and a duke. Duke Victory? She had heard of him. Newly appointed to dukedom, with loose blood ties to the current king, and a male who every other man desired to be, for he was spoken of in the highest regard, even by the king and queen. Stories of his victories were epic, full of unbelievable feats like one swing of his sword tearing 10 men in half. He was a human, no dragonkin blood, or anything similar, but he could still do such a thing? Yes, Duke Victory. I believe his real name is... Oh, what was it? Her mother's voice trailed off as her eyes drifted away from her middle daughter to the tree line near the little waterway skirting the perimeter of the clearing. Lithane demanded your father make a deal for you. I suppose she wants you at the castle more often than you are now. Lithane was the queen, her cousin, and her dearest and only friend. Verson felt the weight around her shoulders and heart lift to a comfortable level. Lithy wouldn't demand she marry someone foul and ill-tempered, would she? Ah, Regis something or other, Norvasos. Her mother returned her gaze, victorious with her memory working. She tried her new name on her tongue. Verson Norvasos. Duchess Verson Norvasos, dear. Her mother grinned, a moment of rare animation. I couldn't ask for a better title. So that is chapter 1. Plan. What is that, squirrel? Yeah. Sounds intriguing. I am a middle child too. Always a troublemaker, right? Either a troublemaker or you have to do everything in the house. So yeah. And that was chapter 1. Anything else you want me to read? I don't want to read that. Give y'all something to look forward to. What a great cover. Did you make it? Yep, I did. So the first cover, let's see. This is the one that I made first. It's got the pastel flowers, and there's not really anything that speaks fantasy or comedy on it. And it's the one that I sent to Mablart for a critique because I won that critique from the AWC. So I sent them this, and they gave me feedback. And that's when I came up with this. So yeah, it's I like it. I hope y'all do too. Hey Rita, popping in to say hi, and Smoochies and Lucky. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So, do y'all want to do a sprint, or do y'all want me to let you go? So that you can go to other sprints. I think there might be. Let's see. Jules just finished. I think. Jody Jean didn't go on. Creative Sprints is going. Paper Tiger is going here in a little bit. And then we've got a couple at 5, and then Esther Marie at 6, and Jenna at 7. So we can do a sprint. We can talk more. You can ask me questions or anything like that. You want to do a sprint? All right, cool. I am going to do a small sprint. We'll do 30 minutes. That way, y'all can get up and move around if you want to and get some work done. I'll leave up the tag because if y'all want me to pick or read a page or a chapter or something, and when we come back from break, I can do that. So here's the timer. Ooh, I leveled up. We'll do the level up. This game is Spirit City. It is a productivity game. Highly recommend. You can get it on Steam. So let's go ahead and start our 30-minute sprint. Don't forget to hydrate. Don't forget to get snacks. Don't forget to stretch or get up and move around if it has been a while, if you are able. And we'll get started in 3, 2, 1. Get at it. All right. How did everybody do on that one? I wrote some words of a very difficult scene. Uh, this is one of Harry's reasons why he joined Regis. One of many reasons, I should say. But yeah, this was the catalyst, I should say. So even though it is a comedy, there are some dark parts. Because, I mean, it is a war. And these are warriors. But they get through their life with comedy. Right? Right. Okay. Are there any more pages or chapters you would like me to read? Even if you have joined late, feel free to pop one in. I can even read some from the books I have yet to publish and have yet to edit. There are 4 of them, so you can request a page or a chapter from book 2, 3, and 4 as well. I have them all pulled up. And don't forget the pre-order link. Now, this is ebooks for right now. The physical book pre-order hasn't really popped yet. Waiting for Ingram Spark to do its thing. I think they don't do pre-orders for a week or so ahead. I can't remember the dates. But here's the link to the pre-orders for the ebook at least. Physical copy books will also pop up on that link on the 29th as well, because it is a books to read link. Talking about the hubs just sending me something dangerous, which is a link to an all-you-can-eat sushi place in Charlotte, because I love sushi. We both love sushi, but it's a good sushi. It looks very, very good. It almost looks like kuru stuff. You know, kuru has the traditional kuru and hickory. Kuru has the traditional rolls, and the nigiri too, but they also have like the fusion of some of them. There's like a sakura roll. There's a sunset roll. Sunset roll is like one of our favorites. So if you are in the area of Kuru, try the sunset roll for sure. It is amazing. And the dynamite bowl, of course, is absolutely to die for. Sushi is feeling so they'll probably get their money's worth. Yes, definitely. No worries. I got it. You gotta get things done before work. I understand. I am going to probably run another sprint and go from there, because we are writing. I'm writing again. I feel good about writing. All right. But yes, those of you watching the replay, I hope you enjoy the cover and I hope you enjoy the sprints, because, yeah, we need to get some stuff done too. Write more. Yep. I am filling out, I'm doing 4 flashback scenes in Harry's book, because I did flashback scenes in books 3 and 4, but Harry did not have any flashbacks in Harry. We need to stay in Harry's head more, because Harry is that interesting. But yeah, happy cover reveal day. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Don't forget to hydrate. Don't forget to get some snacks. Don't forget to get up and stretch. Don't forget to look away from your screen for a little while, especially if you've been staring at it for a while. And let's get started on this next sprint. I think it's a 45-minute sprint. I could be wrong. I don't remember changing the time on it. But here we go. In 3, 2, 1, get at it. All right. How did everybody do on that one? Here we go. Here we go. All right. That's better. I got in 540 words. So far today, I have 1,176, which isn't bad considering that I had like 100 emails go through. And I feel like I haven't answered the ones that I need to answer, but it's okay. Talking about sushi. Mel had to go. Write more. Happy cover reveal day. Jenna picked number 111 for Bilbo and hit Candy for the like button. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see what 111 entails. Okay. So this is Verson's point of view, as is most chapters. And we are going to start on the balcony. Her cousin released her once the attendants closed the doors behind them. Now, cousin, did you take the herbs I sent you to induce fertile lands? Verson groaned. Lithy, can we not talk about this? Why ever not? I am quite experienced and might give you tips, even show you positions. I allow some of my servants to pose for me to see if it will work before the king and I... Lithane. Oh, fine. She grinned, then pursed her lips and tapped her cheek with a manicured finger. So, is he handsome everywhere? Yes, I suppose. The queen narrowed her eyes. Verson, what are you not telling me? We have yet to do the things we should as husband and wife. You're still a virgin? Verson shushed the woman, feeling the heat from furnaces build in her cheeks, neck, and chest. Why ever not? The woman bellowed, hands on her hips and face in Verson's. It's ridiculous, really. Verson tried to think of a way to phrase it without sounding too preposterous. Oh my, Verson dear, is he damaged? Did one of those barbarians harm him and he cannot perform all the time? Yes, there was an escape. Perfect. Regis might preserve his image, and she could too. It's not permanent. It's a wound to his hip, deep. And then there was an infection, but he's on the mend soon. We will, you know. I see. Her cousin's face filled with pity. Oh, my poor dear Sin. Chin up. You won't be able to beat him off of you. Not that you would want to, I dare say. The queen giggled knowingly while hugging Verson to her. So that's page 111 from the chapter called Balls and Spears. Jenna asked, how have you been? How are you? How's it going? I am okay, Jordan. We're good. How are you? What is your character talking about how to get in bed with someone because Jesus, my friend Kathleen is a crack. Okay. Funny and sarcastic there. My friend just died. I was saying to see that you're describing where the queen has left. Some of her servants posed for her, like saying that he is pretty awkward. Yeah, this is so this is my cover reveal for My Husband Wants to Keep Me Pristine, and I've asked people to ask me for pages or chapters that they want me to read, and that was page 111. And the queen has proclivities that she doesn't keep secret. So yeah, Queen Lithane, she and the king get along fairly well, and they have a lot of children, even though they haven't been married that long. So yeah, she's just wanting to make sure that her dear cousin Verson, whom she married off to the Duke, is happy. Needless to say. Anyway, that is awkward, Sam. The chapter, the wording, even the scenes involving the queen and her cousin are potentially son. It's not her son. But this whole book is supposed to be awkward. It's a romantic comedy fantasy. Full of shenanigans and all the things, and awkwardness, and plans that are thwarted. All right. So I think I might do, let's see, let me check the schedule right quick again. Esther Marie's going on at 6. Yeah, I'm going to let y'all go just so you have enough of a break between mine and Esther's so that you can get some supper or something like that and get back to work at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, don't forget, My Husband Wants to Keep Me Pristine launches on August 29th. Meet me right back here on this channel for the launch party on the 29th, because hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. You can ask me to read more. You can ask me more about characters and stuff like that. I will be having polls up in the post section of my channel, in the community section of my channel, so that you can vote on what you want to happen at the launch party on the 29th. It's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern as well. Hey, Margaret, how are you? So yeah, if y'all want to see yay, polls. Yeah, I know, I love doing polls too. Let's do, there's the cover again, so y'all can see it, y'all latecomers if you want. But yeah, there is My Husband Wants to Keep Me Pristine, book 1 of the thinnest books I will ever write. Yeah, see, look at that, look how small it is. It's barely the width of a finger, my finger at least. But yeah, all 4 books are going to be about the same size. One is a little bit on the short side, but most of them are going to be around in between 35,000 and 42,000 words. I think that's the most so far, but again, I haven't edited book 2, 3, or 4 yet. So we'll see how big these novellas get. They probably won't be much bigger than this, though. But I've got the proof copy. I have made a few changes since getting this proof copy, as you can see. So these yellow flowers right here are gone because they looked too realistic once I got it in my hands, and I took them off. But yeah, it's pretty much the same, and it's going to be matte. It's going to be a matte finish, so you get all the matte finish feels. A lot of fun. It's like a play, right? It is. All right, I'm going to let y'all go. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I will see you again at 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's Eastern time, for some more sprints and a little bit of chatting in the breaks. See you then. Bye.